Hey everyone, you've probably seen my short film. I finished it yesterday, and it took me so long because I came across a problem where with my Premiere Pro, my free trial was going to run out on that day, and I had to get it all finished yesterday. So I literally stayed up till it hit midnight, and then I had to keep the software open so I could carry on editing, because if I closed it and then opened it again, it wouldn't let me use the software. So it was really quite stressful, but I managed to get it all done. And I'll show you the effects now. So the effects that I did, I can't show you the second one because I used Premiere Pro to edit that one, and I can't open up any of my Premiere Pro files because obviously my free trials ran out. But the first car effect, where it shows me getting hit by a car, I actually did that in Premiere Pro, and the rest of them were in After Effects. So, and obviously my After Effects trial is still going, so I can show you them now. But so yeah, here's the one. Oh god, here's the one that I'm going to show you. This is the effect. So then Matt's driving his car, Tom throws the pizza box, drops to the floor, and then Tom gets back up and catches the pizza box. It looks really smooth, but there are some little bits that I can't, that I'll tell you now, that just look weird. So now, can you see on this wall here? See how it like the lighting all just changes, like even in the background up here in the sky. Everything gets darker. It's because this is a different clip. This clip and this clip were filmed at two very different times, and yeah, it was my fault. I should have done them two clips quite close to each other, but it literally took so long to get a clip of Tom catching the pizza box when I threw it at him. It just took so long. Obviously, he doesn't go underneath a car. I'm going to show you how I did it in After Effects. It just involves a lot of masking of Tom and stuff. So yeah, let's do this one now. Right, so basically, I think this is an older version, but it'll show you the same thing. So I've put these two clips on 50%. Wait. I don't need to do that. Or do I? So basically, I masked around the car and I masked around Tom. With Tom, it was a bit different because I needed to use the roto brush tool. So literally what I did was I zoomed in and I roto brushed all around him. And then that made him as a mask. And then all of this section of Tom is a mask. Does that make sense? So this is Tom, and then on this part, this is the other clip of Tom on the floor, where he gets up and grabs the pizza box, because they are two different clips. This clip and this clip are the exact same, and this clip and this clip are the exact same. So literally that I just put them both together, and then as the car's directly over Tom, I literally just cut to the other clip, so you don't really notice that he jumps backwards. I'll show you now. Can you see? From there to there. Can you see how he jumps backwards, but you don't really notice because obviously the car's underneath him. And then he gets up and then catches the pizza box. And then with the car, it's just a bit different. With the car, I'd have a mask around. I had a mask around the car, literally as he's coming up, and then I just have masks, and then it's just very, very tedious. And then obviously when he throws the pizza box up at the start, because Tom is a mask, I had the mask come up around here and then out of frame, so that when the pizza box landed here, you didn't see it because it was, I had a blank clip underneath it. So if I just solo this is the blank template. So this would cover over the pizza box, if that makes sense. So you would never have seen the pizza box. That's why in my shot list I had in the notes that it didn't really matter if the pizza box landed in frame, because I'd have a blank template. But it would have been helpful, because then it would have just been a lot less effort. And then obviously the green section at the bottom, you might have not noticed, but there is actually a piece of green tape here. Literally what I did was I keyed the green out, went over to this blank clip, and then I colour corrected the concrete of this clip to match this clip, so that it just blends over nicely. Can you see that? So if I get rid of this, you can see it's there. Does that make sense? And obviously the tape's there. You can kind of see it there. The tape here. Wait, can I? Yeah, it's like here. It's like there. You can kind of see the tape, but yeah, it just blended in really nicely. Oh God. So yeah, that's that. I think I've talked about everything else on this clip. It was very, very straightforward. And then obviously in the final render, because I did do a wide shot, I just zoomed in and followed Tom as if someone was actually holding the camera. And then I just added a fake camera shake to it, which was kind of easy. And yeah, oh wait, yeah, at this part, when he walks into frame, can you see how there's a car? There's like an invisible car there. Wait, you might not be able to see it. Let me zoom in. Here. You see the invisible car? And then as the car comes out, you then start to see the car come around Tom. Literally all I did was I just couldn't be bothered masking that out, so I just ended up zooming in Premiere, and you never ended up seeing this, like this part. This part was like cut off, but obviously you saw the car come around Tom. And to do that, I just did a mask around the outside of Tom. And then that just made that look very nice. So yeah, that's the car over effect. Just a lot of masks, a lot of colour correction on all the clips to make it all match. But obviously some things you can't really match. If two clips have different lighting, you can't change the lighting. That's just not how it works. But you can change the colours to make them all match. But if I would have filmed it all really, really quickly and everyone did it perfect first time, there wouldn't have been any like weird shadowy colours on the other clips, but you just gotta work with what you've got, and I think it turned out all right. So yeah, let's move on to imagination sequence number 4. Right, with these effects, basically, I had to do quite a few different effects with these because there were so many different clips, like different angles that I needed to sort out. I had 3 different effects in the same imagination sequence. Oh yeah, and also I mentioned that, sorry, this clip is number 4 and these clips are number 5. I should have said that, but it's very confusing. So the first one I did was this one, this clip. Very, very quick because I didn't want it to take that long to do. As you can see, there is a hole in my dad's head. There is a hole in the actor's head. And yeah, it just looks really fake, but real at the same time. As you can see, there is background in there as well, which was quite difficult to do. But yeah, I'm going to explain how I did all this in a second. And then there's this one. We get shot. So that's that. Then there's this one. That one. That's it, I think. Yeah. Right. So basically with this one, I had to, obviously because this is, I had a green screen when I did do this. So I keyed it out, created this in Photoshop. Right, I'll explain. I'm sorry, I'm trying to explain it in the footage, but I'll get it up on here now. Right, so basically with this one, it was really, really difficult. I had to do it in like 2 big compositions. So I have the background that's this part inside his head. It's a very small part, but I needed it to make the effect work. So yeah, that's that. And what it is basically, it's 2 screenshots that I've shot because I couldn't really match this same movement on the first clip. So what I did was on this one, I had to take a screenshot of this part to get the banisters in, and then I had to take another screenshot of this part, and then basically I blended them both together, which created this. Does that make sense? Because the hole in the head, pretend my mouse is the hole in his head. It's like it does this. So basically, I just moved the anchor points to make it match. Does that make sense? So anyway, enough of that. That's just the background, and I obviously made it a little bit darker because to match this. Hang on, let me just show you what I mean by the background. Literally, all this picture was for this little gap in his head. Just that movement there. Well, not just that movement, but the whole thing, throughout the whole thing. It's that little hole. Anyway, so with that, I actually did this last. This was the last step I ever did. I ended up doing all this stuff first. So basically, with this is let's just get rid of that. Right, so this is what I had originally. So I literally keyed out the green from his head with the key light 1.2, and then I masked around it so that it wouldn't key out any of the background. And then I did the exact same thing for this one, which I duplicated this clip, put it behind it to make it look a little bit more 3D as it spins around. And then I just moved the anchor point to rotate it around so that it looks like it's 2-dimensional. So it looks like it's 3D, not 2-dimensional. And I did that with the anchor points as well. Oh yeah, also I used the is it Mocha? The Mocha tracker, and then I copied that information that I used from this track. I tracked the green, and I used that information from that track on this clip, so that it would follow it a lot easier. And then with that, I added a little bit of bruising around. You can't really tell. It just makes these edges a little bit darker and this bit a little bit more pink. And then I added the guts, which has the track on it as well, but I made this guts effect in Photoshop. And I'm just going to bring that up now. Where is it? Guts hole. So this was the original picture. That's the original picture, and it's basically loads and loads of layers on top of each other. And I used these images here to create this. I used these images to create this. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. With all this, I used with all this, I took a screenshot of where is it? Where the blooming heck is it? Anyway, the original blank slate. This, I took a screenshot of this to get this shape here. And then I pasted that into Photoshop. Obviously, I'd have the green here. So then I'd literally replace that with blue, because if I had it green, it'd clash with the other layers in After Effects. Made it blue. And then I started adding all these effects on top of it. So I started off with this, which was obviously the blue. And then I just slowly added different effects. So I added this, and then I made it a bit darker. I'm not quite sure. This wasn't like that. I had this at like 100%, so you could see it all. I had this like this, pretty much, and it wasn't blue. But I just started adding stuff to it. So I then started on this blue, and then I started chipping away at the blue, making it spiky and look like it's like been ripped open by something. And then that was this, and then I also added some red drop shadows to all these, and then I added some blood splotches with the paintbrush tool. And then a blood texture and then all this on top of it. And obviously it didn't look like this, but you get the picture. I ended up getting this. I ended up getting this at the end of it all, which I think turned out really well. Sorry, I didn't end up with this. I ended up with this, and then I added a dark ring around the outside to make it look like it was inside his head and dark and red. And then that's how I got that. And then I added a shadow to it there, just to make it a little bit more darker. And then with all these layers, I then had to individually move the anchor points to make it all follow his head, because I couldn't use the Mocha track, if that's what you were thinking, because that tracks this, and that would have just fixed to it. So what I did was I used that as well to then move the anchor point so that it all flows nicely in that movement. So that's how I did that. This one took the most time. I also wanted to add blood dripping down his face. That's why I have this blood picture and this one. I was going to have veins coming out of his thing, like wrapping around his head, and then I was going to add the blood and a mask, so that the mask could slowly over time grow bigger, so it looks like blood's dripping down his head. But I just didn't have time. Like I said before, with the free trial, it just wouldn't work. If you're wondering how I edited all them other videos, I just did it at college. But because I wanted to do all these effects at home, I had to get the free trials. That's basically what it is in a nutshell, with all the other ones I did. So yeah, that's this effect. Now here is the other effect that I did for the same sequence. I then moved on to this one, which is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go on the file, because I've shown you all this before. So basically I copy and pasted the head effects so that they look the same, and then I blurred it slightly because obviously he's far further away. And then I got a screenshot of the actor's head like normally, so that then I could mask his head and then put it on top of this clip, because obviously this clip has the green hole, and he's not been shot yet, so you need to cover it up. So then as my actor shoots, I have the mask open up slightly, and then I just added blood. I should have blurred the blood out slightly, but yeah, and then the mask opens up. Then I added another blood texture and then masked inverted the mask so that it go around his head, so it looks like it's coming out the back of his head. And then I darkened this out because obviously this blood is inside and not outside, so it needs to be darker. And then the blood just slowly comes out like that. And then with the gun was really easy. I used the rotor brush tool so that as he shoots, it was an easy mask around here. And then obviously I didn't need it anymore, but I ended up having it as well. And then I added the muzzle flash. I literally put that on this layer so that it looks like the gun's first and then there's the muzzle flash, but it's not. The muzzle flash is first, but that's how the mask worked. And then, yeah, that's that effect. And then I just added sound and a bit of smoke and some sparks. Yeah, it's pretty simple. And then with this one was that took the easiest amount of time. I used the Mocha software, tracked the back of his head. And then I used a blank clip. So basically with that track, I could then cut out a hole in this clip, like this clip, because this is a separate clip from this. So with that hole here in this clip, I then put the blank slate where the actor isn't there behind it. Does that make sense? And then I added all this effect. This is just that Photoshop texture duplicated 3 times. And then I just blurred it out more and more and more until it got to the edge and it was only a little bit blurred. And then I just added a drop of blood just to make it look like it's on the inside of his head. And it is really, really shaky and bad. That's why you only see it for a very short amount of time in the short film, because it's just really bad. Look at it wobbling like that. It's just not how it works, is it? And then obviously I rotated it around so it all doesn't look like it's been duplicated 3 times. They actually look like different areas of his head that's been busted through. So yeah, that's basically it. I can show you the file so I'm not lying to you. Gunshot effect 2. So this is the one where he stood outside his house. This one. So here's the different clips. There's the muzzle flash. What's this? I think, oh yeah, that's the blood. The blood only shows up. Oh wait, is that the back of his head? Yeah, that's the back of his head blood. This is the front of his head blood. Yeah, there's the Photoshop texture that's just behind his head. There's some shading, some more guts. Yeah, there's the mask that I used. Oh, I didn't use the roto brush tool. I used an actual mask. Oh yeah, that's how I did it, and then I blurred it out. Right, yeah. And then I duplicated it, put that on top, and then that's how you've got the muzzle flash behind the clip. Because if I didn't have that, it would look like the muzzle flash is over the top of the gun, and it just doesn't look right. It would. I think I could have still got away with it, but I think adding that extra thing on top just makes it look a bit better. Well, a lot better. Oh yeah, I also had to warp stabilize. Oh no, I didn't warp stabilize it, did I? I had to use the tracker in After Effects and use the warp stabilizer from here, which was, yeah, that took so long to do because the clip was so wobbly. I needed this part of his head to be still so that when I add the top part of his head on top of here, where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so that's it there. And then as he gets shot, you can see that if I go on the mask in here, where's the mask? The mask is here. As he gets shot, it slowly opens and closes. Do you get me? Same with this. That's basically it. that's how you get the gunshot effect. I think I'm just explaining myself twice over now, but and then here's effect 3. This one took the quickest to do because I'd already made all the textures and stuff. It was literally just like plonk it all in, do some tracking, add some masks, and then that was about it. So this was this one. Oh yeah, here as well, feathering this out to blend with his head. Oh my god, that took so long to do. Because it kept getting stuck on the side. Can you see how it like just stays there for a bit? Like here, you can see it and you can see it. It's like it moves to the left. Oh, it's so bad. But yeah, that's that. So yeah, this is the this is what I was talking about before. This is the clip itself. It's literally just that. I've literally cut a hole in the clip and then I added this clip underneath it, which is this one. Do you get how it works now? I'm trying to explain this as as detailed as possible. And then it's just a bunch of masks and stuff. I think if like I knew a more advanced software and knew 3D and knew modeling and knew texturing and all that stuff, I could have made this short film look so much better. But because like with my knowledge that I've got so far, I just couldn't. This is like the best I can do. Me teaching myself how to do all this stuff. This is the best I can do. And I think now when I go to uni, they're going to teach me so much more stuff, and it's actually going to be useful being taught stuff now instead of just figuring it out myself and looking at clips online. But yeah, hopefully if I pass this FMP and get a merit or higher, I can then go to uni and make even cooler effects. And that's my plan. So yeah, I think I've talked about everything. Yeah, it was really, really fun, this project. I am actually just going to go back to my original pitch that I did to see if there's anything that I did the same. Pitching my short film. Right, I'm going to watch this and I'm going to do like a little commentary over the top of it to see if it actually turned out how I was expecting back in, when was this?
They can see.
When was this? The 13th of February. Oh my god, that's so long ago. Alright. Yeah?
Yeah, go for it, Bradley.
Okay, right. My name is Brandon Rutledge and this is me. I'm sorry if the audio sounds really, really bad. They didn't use a microphone, they just filmed it and I think they filmed it on a camcorder. They didn't use an external microphone, that's why it sounds so bad, but anyway. Pitching my idea about my FMP. So content, what am I going to be creating? What's my target audience? What's my inspiration of making this sort of thing? So I'm going to be making a short film that's kind of like an action thriller type short film. See, in my pitch, in my actual product that I've made, it does actually look more like an action thriller. In my research, I wanted to make an action comedy, but it's actually more of an action thriller because at the end of it, a guy gets killed and it's not really funny. I thought it was going to be funny, like once I've made it all, but it's actually more of a thriller. So I've actually gone from researching about comedy, and it actually turned out the way I was hoping in here, which is kind of like I've kind of gone around in a circle and ended up back where I was originally, which is quite funny, but yeah. Because I've never really done that sort of thing, I normally just stick to horror things, but yeah, I do normally stick to horror things. I like my horror.
Try something a bit different. Our target audience is going to be mainly adults and older teenagers because it is going to be quite graphic and I want it to look real. I wouldn't want it to offend any little kids.
Yeah, it does look quite real, but you can tell it's fake, which is kind of the comedy aspect to it as well. Even if I tried to make it look as real as possible, it still look really funny. That's why I kind of shifted my thing to an action comedy instead of an action thriller. Because if I was going to make a proper action thriller, I'd need the effects to look as close to real life as possible. But obviously I couldn't do that because of my knowledge now. So, yeah.
My inspirations of making something like this are the movies Wanted, Matrix and Max Payne, because they all have that kind of action thriller type theme and they've got some real cool scenes in them as well. So yeah, my research, I'm going to be doing ebooks, websites, movies, interviews and things like that in the action and thriller genre.
I did do that. I did do that research, but I don't think I did any podcasts. And obviously I did action comedy and not action thriller because, yeah, it is an action comedy. Whether it looks like it or not, it is an action comedy. My actors made it out like an action comedy, like I told them to, which was, yeah, that was interesting. But anyway.
I'm going to be doing this because in my other projects I weren't really doing my research properly, so what I'm going to be doing this time is doing loads of research on and implementing that research into my actual projects right at the end.
Yeah, that's a good point. In my last few projects that I've been doing kind of a little bit of research, and then as soon as it hits my practical, I literally just go all out, forget to do like vlogs and blogs about some of the problems I face and stuff, because as soon as I hit a problem, my brain's like, right, my brain kind of switches and it's like, right, how am I going to fix this problem? Do I know how to fix it? And then I fix it, no matter what it is, I find a way to fix it. And my brain just completely forgets about telling you how, like, the problems that I faced in the blogs, because obviously that's part of the criteria in this FMP. So I needed to wrap my head around that. But yeah.
So there's actually a reason we do the research, I'm not just doing it for the sake of it. And yeah, I'm probably going to do a lot more interviews, ebooks and bits on movies, because I feel like they're the most important. And I'll probably just get a load of tips from websites, but anyway. So the planning stages, it's basically the normal kind of stages for a short film. It's like the production schedule, treatment, legal and ethical constraints, call sheets, copyright considerations, location recce, risk assessment, storyboards and shot lists.
Did all them.
I can go through all them, but we're going to be here for ages. But the main ones I'd say is probably going to be location recce, call sheets, production schedule, shot and shot lists.
Yeah. Call sheet.
All of them are important. I'm not going to go through what they are because you're already
Yeah.
So my practical work, why have I chosen to create a short film and what's the outcome for making the short film? I chose a short film because I don't know, whenever I try and make short films, I want to kind of make like a story behind it.
Obviously, Brandon, because it is a short film, it's supposed to have a story.
And the kind of story that I've got in my head right now is kind of like we're on a hitman's side. Like basically he's the main character, and he's got given a hit on a criminal, and basically he walks past him, and there's going to be a gun involved. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing yet, but.
Oh my god, I can remember that. I wanted to do a hitman short film, which was an action thriller where a hitman walks past a guy, then he pulls out a gun and then shoots him, and then with all my visual effects knowledge that I've got, I could create a fake CG gun, replace it with the fake gun. Sorry, replace the fake gun with the CG gun, having the chamber come back and have the bullet come out of the gun and killing the enemy. But I couldn't do that because it needs to be a short film and it needs to be longer than 2 minutes, 5 minutes ish. And yeah, I couldn't do that. That's why I ended up changing my idea to an interview and then adding all these imagination sequences which have visual effects involved. Because Steve said to me that this FMP has to be something that you are looking to do in the future. So if you're wanting to go to uni and study a BA honours degree in visual effects, this FMP must have some sort of visual effects involved in it. Because it would just look really, really weird having, like, say if I made a logo and then I ended up doing a ballet course in, like, China. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's really, really weird, like, looking back at what I was thinking and how I had to change my idea, because obviously it wouldn't have been long enough, because it would have just been one slow-mo effect. It would have looked really, really cool and I would have spent loads of time on it. And it probably would have looked really realistic, but it wouldn't have, like, matched the criteria, and it just wouldn't have been long enough at all. Yeah, that's really interesting how I changed it.
I want to use CGI and visual effects is probably the main reason why I want to do this. And going back to, The Matrix and Wanted, they have cool scenes where they've got, like, slow motion bullet effects and stuff. And I want to try and do something like that, probably with, like, After Effects or something, but I'm not quite sure yet because I need to be doing loads of research on that. The outcome is the main reason why I'm doing this, because this is my FMP. I want to try and add visual effects into this project, because hopefully, if I get a distinction in this project, I'll be able to go to Future Works and study a visual effects course, which would be pretty nice. So,
Oh, Brandon, turn your phone off.
I hope so. So presenting the short film. I'm going to be doing research on this anyway, but I'm mainly probably just going to just chuck it up on YouTube, because
Yeah, I did chuck it on YouTube.
there's quite a lot of little short films that get put up on YouTube that become, like, actual films. It's like there was a
They
film
do.
that came out, I think, like last year or 2017, I can't remember, called Lights Out, and basically a student made a short film about a concept of a light switching out.
Yeah, so basically I ended up putting it on YouTube, and then literally the rest of this video is just me talking to my teachers about how I can make this work. Yeah, so we don't really need to look at all that, but yeah, so that's my final major project. Literally the only blogs I'm going to be doing now is, like, evaluations and yeah, just tweaking some of my blogs to make them all match and look pretty and everything, and just polishing everything, just make it all look nice. That's literally all I'm going to be doing for the rest of the few days. And obviously if my teachers need me to do anything else, I'll obviously listen to them and do it. And then obviously if my teachers ask me to do anything else, I'll listen to them and then do it on my WordPress, because that's where my FMP is going to be. So yeah, this has been an interesting few months, and I'm looking forward to learning more cool visual effects if I go to uni, and making some cool scenes from films and stuff. I'm just rambling now. Okay, I hope I get a good grade. Bye. Thanks for listening.